The third and final method of modelling is called solid modelling. This is extremely versatile, very powerful, fast to create but trickier to edit. When you create a model with solids, it can actually generate quite large file sizes as well, so that has to be you have to be a bit careful. You may find that it's better to export in chunks, and then this will convert things to meshes. But anyway, let's show you the basic command. The prime command that you would use for solids is to extrude. You'll find it here identified on the ribbon. If you pick the shape and return, and you see we're getting a box type affair already, and if I just extrude that by 3000, I've got a solid box. Okay, top and bottom are there already. Now I can still edit the original shape to a degree, okay, but I can't lift it up. It won't let me lift it up. It'll let me move it on plan, but won't let me lift it up. Okay, a solid is actually created from a number of regions. So here we would have 6 regions. So the sub-object of a solid is a region. Let's just hover the mouse over the object, and that will show you that. Okay, it should appear as a solid if I hover. It's refusing to do it just now. Okay, let's explode it though. So X, return, pick the object and return, and my tips aren't showing up here. It should be telling me that this is a region. So if I list that shape, you can see that it's a region type object, and that's just the shape of it, and tell me that it's at height of 3000. Okay, regions are basically individual flat faces. The region has to be flat with itself. It's kind of all its corners are coplanar. Okay, if you explode again, you get just lines. Okay. Right, now we'll not do any more of the solids commands here because they're too varied. So we'll open another file that's been set up to show you some of the features of solid modelling. So if I open and look for the file called booleans.dwg, okay, and there's 3 little exercises in here for us to work through. Let's tip this over into 3D view. Now this setup has been done quite carefully. How these shapes got into this position is the subject of another exercise altogether. So to do that you need control of the UCS axes. Now we'll not cover that in this one. Okay, we'll just play with the solids just so you get the hang of it. Okay, so firstly we'll extrude this larger pink rectangle, and we'll take it to the height of this one. So I don't have to know any numbers here. So extrude, so it's EXT, return, pick the pink shape and return, and let your object snaps find the corner of the pink shape. So it's going to take only the Z height from that shape. Okay, so we should have a solid lump. Right, now what we're going to do is carve away into that to form a parapet. So we'll extrude this pink shape downwards within the one that's there already. So the 2 shapes will be kind of in the same space. So let's have a look at this in X-ray. Okay, so we'll extrude, so EXT, return, pick the pink line if you can. It's being a bit awkward, I think we'll have to do this in 2D wireframe. So EXT, return, pick the pink shape, return, and we're going minus 1000, so we go into the other shape. You could extrude it 1000, then move it down by its own height. It's exactly the same job. Right, look at that in X-ray now. You'll see that there's a slightly darker grey here, slightly stronger grey, in that, so the two volumes are kind of within each other. Okay, and what we'll do, we'll take the small shape from the big one And you do that using these commands here. These are Boolean operations. And we'll use the one in the middle, the subtract command. You pick the big shape first, the one you want to take the things from. So pick that one and return. Then pick the smaller shape and return. And it carves away to form a parapet, like a little rooftop pool. Have a look at that in shaded with edges, and you see what it's done, a bit clearer. Okay, right, back to 2D wireframe. What we'll do is we'll mirror this shape over to this side, and we're going to form an intersecting vault. Okay, so if we mirror the shape first, so MI, return, pick the yellow shape and return, and use the diagonal across the base of the shape as your mirror line. Go from corner to corner and return. And let's extrude these both by the same depth. They need to be big enough to go right the way through the object, so we'll exaggerate that a wee bit. So EXT, return. You can do both at the same time. Return. And we'll set a extrusion of minus 11,000. Okay, so they're plenty big enough to go through the object. Now, at some point there, I didn't notice it disappear, but my navigation bar is gone. It just freaked out and just disappeared. That sometimes happens. Now, to bring it back, if you try and remember this routine, because it is a bit awkward when it does disappear, you could type in the orbit command and you'd be okay, but if you type in navbar, it half write the command, then we've got navbar display. At the moment the computer thinks the navigation bar is still there, but it's actually not. So if you use a 0 to say definitely go away, so 0 and return, then return to bring back the command, and then 1 to bring back the navigation bar. So 0 is off, 1 is on. Got my navigation bar back. It freaks out sometimes, not sure what causes it, but it goes. Okay, so you can see our two vaults there. Now you could join those together if you wanted to. So if you wanted that as the actual shape, you can use the union command. So the solid union will join the two solids together. So just pick both of these and watch for what happens here. Things get a bit tidier in this junction. Okay, see how they're both going through each other. You know, if one's a different shape to the other, that wouldn't matter. And now we can take this cross shape from the main lump to give us our vaulted roof. So subtract from the big shape, return, then pick your subtracting shape and return again. Now, you know, instantly people can see the kind of power and, you know, simplicity and all the advantages that kind of modelling is going to give them. It's a great little set of commands. Okay, what we've got here is this pale blue shape is a profile of a cornice, and I want this to go around the building. So I'm going to use the extrude command, but slightly cleverer. So we'll extrude along a path so that it follows the green line. If we just use the normal extrude command, it would just go in this direction, either forwards or backwards in that direction. The objects always extrude in the plane that they are kind of normal to. So try the command ext, return, pick the pale blue shape and return, and you see it's going to let me extrude it, but it won't go around the corner unless I specify a path, and that's one of the options in the command. You can see it here, path. So type in the letter P and return, pick the green line, and as long as everything's modelable, it will do the command. Now that worked fine because the polyline was good, and so was the profile. The profile was closed. Has to be a closed polyline with no overlaps, no gaps. Okay, what we could do there to tidy things up even more is join the cornice to the main mass. If you wanted to eventually have that a different material, then you shouldn't do this, but we could at the moment. So union, pick both the objects, press return, and you see there that a gap appeared in that line, indicating that it's now unified. So, pretty useful. Let's move on to the next shape. I'll tilt over a bit more. Okay, and what I've got here is 3 closed polylines: a rectangle, a circle, and a blobby type shape. Now, this will be, something, perhaps that's the shape of a swimming pool and this is the tiled area around it. We could turn that into a surface very easily using the region command. So if you type reg, short for region, and pick all 3 objects and return, notice they all go white. They take the layer that's current. Let's shade that so we can see what's happening. And we've got the 3 shapes basically sitting inside the same space. Okay, so I've got a shape there, and this one. Now, regions, as long as they're coplanar and they're exactly in the same plane, they can be subtracted. So if you get the subtract command, pick the main shape and return, and then the 2 smaller shapes. It's been a bit awkward here, I'll try that again. Subtract from this, return. I'm trying to pick. Oh, it's been awkward. I think I'll have to do this 2D wireframe. It's just my graphics card's freaking out a wee bit. Okay, try that again. Subtract from this shape, return. Pick the two interior shapes. Everything looks the same at the moment until you shade it. Okay, so that's a region. A little flicker there. You notice the triangulation just when I changed view. Now that could be extruded now. Regions can be turned into solids quite readily. I'm just going to drop back a few clicks here, just show you another feature of the software that's arrived with the 2012 version, and that's called push-pull modeling. I can't really see myself using it too much, but it's there, and it's good to know that you can do it. So, okay, go press pull. It's called. Okay, and watch what happens with the cursor. It's highlighting the different shapes that could be brought up. So if I leave my cursor hanging in here in the gap between the shapes, you see how it's creating the solid in that manner. So I'll just drag that up, and you can still get access to the original shapes. That's probably one of the advantages in this one. When you use the normal extrude command, it actually absorbs the shape. So I've still got the shapes here that I can actually use. So I'll try and get the circle there. Okay, so it's fairly crude, but it's pretty quick, and it's like using the thickness command, but you're actually lidding the objects, whereas the thickness command doesn't. Okay, let's have a look at the third little part of the exercise here. And what I've got is some circles and a closed polyline here. And so this is representing a wall, and these are the shapes of the columns. So let's extrude all these columns and the wall by the same amount. So let's grab the whole lot and return, and we'll do them a height of 8,000. Okay, nice and high. Right. Now I've got a layer switched off that's got the shape of the roof. Okay, so if I bring that layer back on, see I've got a roof layer. Okay, there's the shape of the roof. Let's do it from this side so you can see it. And I'm going to extrude that roof through all those columns. So ext, return, pick the roof profile I should say, and return. And thickness for this is -9500. Should have been positive 9500. So let's do that again. So ext, return, pick the roof, and return 9500. Okay, so it's clashing through all those objects, and for a nice clean model, really I want to have these columns finishing on the underside of that roof, not going right the way through it, and not being short of the roof. I want everything to be tidy, and because of that awkward shape of the roof, all the columns are different heights, and within each column it's different heights as well. So what I can do is I can subtract from the columns in the wall, I can subtract the roof shape. But when I do that, I will lose the original roof. So I need to copy it first. So CP, return, pick the roof and return. Now just look for a handy corner somewhere on the model. This'll do. Pretend to go from here, pull away, but come back to the same place. Return again. You've got two roofs there in the same space. Now you can try your subtract command. So we're subtracting from all of these. Return, pick the roof and return. Nothing much looks like it's changed when you're in the shaded view. Go back to 2D wireframe and you'll see that there's gaps through all the objects. Now if you use the separate command, which is on the solid editing panel there, separate, click on the columns and return twice. We've now got individual columns, top and bottom, above and below the roof. All the stuff at the top can be deleted, and we've got a nice clean model. It's like a canopy or whatever it could be. Okay, final touch here. Let's cut some holes in the roof. I've got a layer switched off called the roof lights. Okay, I've got ellipses drawn on the floor of the building, and I've got paths for each of the ellipses so that they go through the roof. So they're long enough to go right the way through the roof. So we'll end up with 3 roof lights that are, the base shape on the ground's the same, but they'll have a different cut through the roof. So you want to extrude these individually. So EXT, return, pick an ellipse, return, then P, return, and pick the path for that one to go through. Okay, do the same with the other 2. So extrude the ellipse, return, P, return, pick the corresponding path. And the last one, select your ellipse, return, P, return, and then your path. Okay, so it looks a wee bit bizarre at the moment, a bit like a kind of chimneys on an ocean liner or something. Okay, quite funky in their own right, some kind of expo building. Okay, then do the subtraction. So you pick your roof shape and return, and then your 3 chimneys get chopped right the way through it. Lovely and easy. Okay, so because of the angle, the shapes are changing, and because of the slope, that affects that as well. So as you can see, Booleans, extremely useful modeling editing tools. Okay, the one we didn't cover there was the intersection, and this is the resulting shape of two solids that are joined together. Now let's just quickly open the Booleans one again, just to show you that one. So I'll close that. Don't see the changes. I'll reopen the Booleans file, and let's just quickly look at this one again. Let's flip it over. So we'll mirror the yellow object, and we'll extrude it, and let's go 10,000 this time, because that's what I should have done last time. Wrong way. Minus 10,000. Okay, and then if we did the intersect of these 2 shapes instead, we get the shape that would have been part of the subtraction. So, quite a complex shape in its own right. So, extremely useful commands, and really do improve the speed of your modeling. Thanks.